Hello, I'm Michael Baldwin, and I'm here today with Hans Steenackers, our coordinator of AAA Coat, who is kindly agreed to spend a few minutes today talking with me about his work in research and what his group is doing in the project. So, uh, Hans, you're a professor at KU Leuven, and you've been coordinating our AAA Coat project for the last 4 years. Can you tell us more about your research group at KU Leuven and its research activities?
Yes, of course. Good noon. I'm heading a research group at the KU Leuven, which is called the MICA Lab, and MICA stands for Microbial Communities and Antimicrobials, and that's actually also perfectly summarizing what we're doing. So we study the behavior of microbial communities, mainly communities that contain disease-causing microorganisms, and then we try to develop antimicrobials that target these communities or that find inspiration in the behavior of microbes in these communities. So specifically, we are studying how microbes in the communities cooperate with each other, how they compete with each other, and how this influences their disease-causing abilities, their tolerance to antibiotics, their resistance evolution to antibiotics. And then we try to find ways to interfere with these social behaviors, or we try to develop novel probiotics that can better compete with microbes in such communities.
Thank you. Yeah, we're always interested to hear more about how our researchers got into science and how their careers developed. So, can you tell us more about what interested you in a career in research in the first place, and how you got into it, and then how particularly you ended up working in microbiology and studying these microbial communities?
In high school, I was always very interested in the scientific courses. So that's why I started higher education in bioscience engineering, because that's a very broad scientific education. You don't need to choose a specialization. It still stays very broad. And in my master's, I studied food chemistry and technology, but at KU Leuven, we always have to choose two study subjects. So I also chose cellular and genetic engineering. And then during my master thesis, I actually combined both these study subjects. So I chemically synthesized, so this was more the chemistry part, I chemically synthesized novel compounds that can interfere with the communication between bacteria in biofilms. And so at the end of my master thesis, I actually found the microbiology part the most interesting. And then for my PhD, I actually mainly moved into the microbiology area. But still today, we are still researching microbes also in the context of food technology. So I didn't completely leave this food area neither.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. Thanks. Yeah, so it's interesting how a path could go different ways, and what you expect at the beginning of your time at university can sometimes turn out quite differently. And now you're a professor in microbiology and leading AAA Coat projects, and several other projects as well. So tell us more about what your group is doing in the AAA Coat project specifically. So you've got the anti-biofilm compound, which we call 2AI for short, 5-aryl 2-amino imidazole. Even after 4 years, I can't quite say it. And believe it or not, I did chemistry myself. So, okay. Please tell us more about how that work with antibiofilm compounds started, and what you're now doing in the project with those compounds.
Yeah, so these 2-amino-imidazole-based compounds actually originate from my PhD research about 20 years ago. So we were screening a whole library of compounds that can, well, to try to find compounds that can interfere with biofilm formation, that can actually prevent biofilm formation. We screened more than 20,000 compounds. We identified a few active hits, and one of these was actually a compound that resembles the 2-amino-imidazoles that we are studying today. So these 2-amino-imidazoles actually find their origin in marine spongy. sponges. So we found in the screening a compound that resembles these compounds that actually were known to be produced by sponges. And then later on, over the course of these 20 years, we actually synthesized many analogs, like about 900 analogs of these compounds that we initially identified in order to increase their activity, their specificity, reduce toxicity, and so on. We went on with studying how they work, how they actually at a molecular level prevent the formation of biofilms. We studied resistance evolution against these compounds and actually found that they are evolutionarily robust because the biofilm slime actually acts as a public good. And in that sense, bacteria that become resistant to the biofilm inhibitor are actually sharing the benefit of their resistance because it's public with the surrounding sensitive bacteria. In that sense, the sensitive bacteria are not counter-selected. They even have a benefit compared to the resistant bacteria. And then we went on to look into applications, several applications in the medical fields. How can we coat medical implants with such antibiofilm molecules? Can we use them to prevent biofilms in irrigation systems in agriculture? And that's in the end how we ended up at the AAA Coat project. So this was the time of the COVID pandemic, and the EU was actually organizing a call for projects that could help prevent future pandemics. And there we saw a possibility of implementing these antibiofilm molecules in coatings that can be used to protect surfaces in public areas such as buses, planes, and so on. So that's how we actually ended up in the AAA Coat project, where we combined our antibiofilm molecules with actually several other antimicrobial strategies.
Yes. And now we're almost at the end of the project, and we've got the coatings and we're testing them, and we're going to be sharing some results at a workshop in Ghent, in Belgium, in August with various of the other projects that have been funded. So we're looking forward to that right now. Mm-hmm. So in terms of the anti-biofilm strategy, is that something that is completely new? Is it is it yet being used anywhere in medicine or other areas where fighting microbes this way could be of interest, or is there still a lot more to do before we get there?
Well, there are several coatings on the market, but they do not specifically target the biofilm. They rather kill bacteria that approach the surface. And yeah, this has some disadvantages. Certain of these coatings are actually toxic. Others are prone to resistance evolution. So coatings that specifically target biofilms, they are an active area of research. There's quite some research on this. It's a very active and quite large research field. But these coatings are very new. They are not yet on the market. So they are in preclinical, mainly preclinical research stages.
Yes. Okay. So there's quite some way to go, but I guess we're hoping that what we're doing in AAA Coat and the work with these nature-inspired, we're calling them approaches, because with the connection with the sponges and the other approaches in the project are drawing inspiration from the antimicrobial strategies that various animals and plants have actually involved themselves to fight pathogens and defend themselves against microbial attack. But do you think there's a chance that we can introduce this approach in future, and it could be part of our strategy against potentially even a pandemic? We've also heard quite a lot about antimicrobial resistance lately. So how do you see what we're doing in AAA Coat fitting in with the overall context of fighting infectious disease and where we need to overcome this growing problem of antimicrobial resistance?
Well, I hope that the technology that we are developing within AAA Coat can provide a solution. So indeed, within AAA Coat, we are combining these 2-aminoimidazole anti-biofilm compounds, which specifically prevent biofilm formation by inhibiting the slime production of bacteria. We are combining these compounds with antimicrobial peptides that have a fast killing activity of bacteria.
Right.
And we are also combining it with the nano patterns that you find on the leaves of insects, for example. And I think the results are promising. So we had very nice in vitro activities, but not only nice in vitro activities, we have also made a lot of progress in studying the ways how you can apply these coatings on surfaces and actually at a scale that is industrially relevant. So that was also very important. And we evaluated the stability of these coatings against scratching and so on. We performed toxicity tests. So actually, we have done already a lot of work, and all these results look very promising. At the moment, a bus trial is going on. So we have actually coated surfaces of real buses, the seats, the windows, poles, so different types of materials with these coatings. And we have challenged the coatings with communities of microbes that we have actually found in or isolated from real buses. So these trials are currently going on. So I think we are making nice progress, and I hope that also this bus trial will yield promising results. In terms of resistance evolution, I think that our technology is drastically different from what we know. So classic antibiotics, classic disinfectants, where we do see resistance evolution, in the sense that we are combining these anti-biofilm molecules, which are evolutionarily robust, with antimicrobial peptides, where we also know that resistance is very difficult to achieve because of their fast activity, their multimodal activity, as they don't have one target, multiple targets. So we hope that also here we can provide a more sustainable solution than what we have so far with antibiotics and disinfectants.
Okay, thanks. And just one final question. As the coordinator of the project, how do you see the benefits of working in a European level collaboration? And in fact, we've also got a partner, Stellenbosch University in South Africa as well. So it's almost like a global collaboration, the AAA Coat project. Yeah, how do you see that as being beneficial compared to just doing research with other people at your university, or even just other people in Belgium?
Well, it's clear that the AAA Coat project is a very multidisciplinary project. We have different disciplines that are present. So we have material scientists, we have coating specialists, we have toxicologists, we have experts in antiviral testing. We ourselves are performing the antibacterial testing. We have companies, we have research institutions, we have universities. So in that sense, it's very interesting to have such a European consortium where we can bring together very good research groups, companies all over Europe, the best expertise. We can bring them together in order to achieve the optimal results, I would say.
Yes, I agree with you. It's been a really interesting 4 years, and I've personally really appreciated working with everybody on the AAA Coat project. And yeah, thank you very much. I think that's all we have time for now, but it's been really good to talk with you at this stage where we're just wrapping up the project now and looking forward to the future. So thanks very much, Hans, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Michael, and hope to see you soon.